Hello and welcome to yet another Outside Inside Star Citizen, this show where we talk about what we saw or we watch together inside Star Citizen and we comment on it, or I comment, and like you can comment down in the comments or in the chat while this video is premiering. So today we're going to be talking about the Cargo Refactor and Rastar, and I don't know why we're talking about Rastar because it's not even close to being released, and they showed it to us like 2 years ago, or actually a year ago, or like 2 Citizen Cons ago, and we already know what it is. It didn't really make that much progress, so whatever. Let's roll the intro and let's watch Inside Star Citizen together.
Hello, my name is Grumpy. Grumpy, I.
318, the future is bright for cargo.
We're moving away from the simplistic implementation that we had before into something that's more of a real simulation.
With the new physicalized cargo, it opens doors for us to give some new gameplay.
All right, I gotta stop it now because you'll see why, but keep in mind that at the start of the video, they said that the future is bright for cargo, and it's not. And you'll see why, but like just keep that in mind.
Cargo today is pretty basic. You go to a kiosk, you use an interface, you load your ship, it automatically loads. Get in that ship, you drive that ship to a port, and then you sell what you bought, but there's not a lot of interesting choices there.
With the current implementation, whenever we designed it, we did not have the tractor beams that we have now. What that meant is that you were not able to pick up and manipulate the larger 1SU boxes. At the time, all that you could do was pick up the smaller 1/8 SU boxes, but this gave us a problem for piracy and looting in general, in that the really valuable things are sold and bought in these 1SU boxes in higher volumes, but the only thing the player can actually pick up are the smaller ones. So what we had to do is a kind of hack in the cargo system such that when a vehicle explodes, instead of generating the larger 1SU boxes on destruction, it actually generates the smaller ones in this kind of gamey, magical way, so that the player can actually go pick up some of the boxes from the destruction.
Why are we talking about the past, or how it is right now, when we know that, and like this whole section should be about the future? Like, I don't fucking get it. They just spent like a minute and a half, and they're gonna spend more time talking about this. Yes, we know once you destroy a ship, it's gonna like drop boxes that are not the same like 1SU boxes that should be inside. It just generates like 10% of what was in the cargo hold, and it drops it. The boxes keep on despawning for some reason. Sometimes like all of them despawn, and most of the times, once you get those boxes, you can't even fucking sell them because they get corrupted somehow or whatever. So why are we talking about this? Like, I don't fucking understand it.
All right, let me give you an example. The C2 has 696 SCU, which equates to 5,568 1/8 SCU boxes that you have to loot. But the ship exploding should damage some of those boxes, and we want to have about 40 to 50% survive that explosion, so that's still about 2,000 1/8 SCU boxes.
But then there's server performance issues to consider. So what we've actually been doing is capping that at 10% boxes being generated. However, on top of that, it's an incredibly tedious experience, because now that's, if you were to do the math, about 400 boxes that you have to go pick up, and collecting all of those by hand without a tractor beam.
With the new system, we've gotten rid of the 1/8 SCU cargo containers. Everything is 1 SCU cargo containers. So in the case of the C2 with the 696 SCU, that would be 696 1 SCU boxes rather than 5,000 plus.
All right, so first of all, we had the tractor beam for quite some time now, and I don't understand why are we talking about this right now. Also, I don't understand why we're talking about this now, because this has nothing to do with the cargo horrors. This has a lot to do with piracy. Also, like as I've said previously, if you destroy a Caterpillar, a C2, whatever, it's gonna like spawn 10, 20 small boxes, most of which are gonna be like corrupted and they're not gonna work, and like you will not be able to sell them. Now it's gonna spawn like 400 1SU boxes. how is that going to affect the server performance? And also, this was happening before when we had like 50 players on the server, and now we have 100 players on the server, and we're going to have more pirates, more cargo haulers, and all of that. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's continue.
Every single one of those boxes is a real entity in the game, like any other entity in the game. It is tracked in the database as a persistent entity now that we have the new persistent entity streaming architecture. And it means that now that there are entities that are persistent, they can be interactable. So now you can do things like use the tractor beams to pull them out of the cargo hold or put them into a cargo hold. It also means that whenever we do ship destruction with the new system, we don't have to generate anything. Instead, all that we do is we take the entities that were already created and we just simply detach them from the cargo hold and let them float in space.
All right, so first of all, what does this have to do with cargo hauling? Like, I don't understand how like cargo haulers are gonna have fun with this, because they usually don't want their ships to go kaboom. Secondly, this just looks like shit, honestly. Like, just look at this. Like, it's just like, what? I don't know, like the boxes should be still in the cargo hold, right? And there should, like, they should tumble around, but they shouldn't just like go outside, like no clip through the ship. It's just like, it looks weird. And thirdly, what does this have to do with the cargo haulers?
Now, we still want to have some of that explosive destruction. So there's a certain amount of variable amount of that cargo that is destroyed on ship destruction.
Actually giving you back somewhere, it's actually 0 to 90%, but that's calculated every time your ship explodes. So what happens then is now we're actually hitting that 40 to 50% number on average.
This means that both for players that want to reclaim the cargo that they lost on ship destruction, or for pirates that want to scoop up their ill-gotten gains, then they'll have an easier time to get at it, and there'll be more value there when they try to do so.
I mean, just imagine the server performance and the strain on the servers that, like, this thing, like, all the physics that need to be calculated with servers that we already have that are already shit as they are, and then you introduce this, it's just gonna be fucking mayhem. Honestly, I don't know how this is gonna work. Hopefully it's gonna work okay-ish, but honestly, like, seeing this that you're seeing right now on the screen, it's just weird. Honestly, just weird. Like, I know that a couple of patches ago, when they introduced the new inventory system, I spawned like 400 backpacks into an elevator, and they were just like colliding with each other, which completely destroyed the servers. Some servers 30k'd, some of them went down to like 1 tick per second, and it was basically unplayable. Everybody was having like 10 to 15 FPS on the servers, and like the server was just basically dead at that point. Like this, hopefully they have some new mechanic that's gonna fix that, because like calculating physics for this many things is just like a strain on the server, and it's probably gonna work great on a client. It's probably gonna work great in like a single player game, but like in Star Citizen, which is a multiplayer game, and you have 99 other people doing their own shit, it's just gonna be weird and it's gonna be bad. And also, they made the area too cluttered prompt that you get if you like toss enough, like I don't know, it's up to 10 things in the same spot on the ground, and they did that basically because of me, because I was crashing servers, and they did that in the PTU, so it wouldn't happen in the PU, because like the game will be unplayable, right? Now, I don't know how that's gonna work with this, because there's a ton of things here, and are they gonna despawn, or are you just not gonna be able to drop anything around them? Like, I don't know. Honestly, it does look really nice, like the broken up caterpillar with a bunch of cargo outside of it. It does look really nice and immersive, but like the explosion itself, it's just weird. But yeah, my honest, like, biggest fear is this, like that this is gonna crash servers, or the servers are just gonna be like so low performance that you will not be able to play on them. So yeah, let's continue.
There is also the new commodity kiosk flow, which is a step in the right direction for helping you understand what you're buying and what you're selling and what's available at the places where you buy and sell commodities. It's the new UI, it's the new building block UI, so it should be a lot easier to understand, and gives you a graphical representation as you're buying and selling of how much space that you have on the ship that you're buying and selling into.
All right, so let's analyze this like this, because this is going to be the easiest way to do that. So on the left side, you're going to choose your ship where you're going to like, but still this is going to work only on like ports and stuff like that where you have more ships. If you took the ship to the to an outpost, you're just going to have one ship there, and like this whole like menu system is just going to be like whatever. Why do we have it? But anyway, it's a cool addition. It's just like a bit nitpicky, but also on like this whole thing, the middle screen is just like useless. Sure, you have a fucking photo of your or 3D model of your ship, and that's it. Like, why do you need that? You just need to know your like the name of your ship, and that's it. You can have much more info here, but yeah, sure, whatever. So supply and demand, this is good. This is like good that they made it. It's easy to click on, and yeah. So let's just see demand, and we have very high demand, and they're buying 4,000 SUs. Yeah, that's fine. That's like that looks like a very high demand. A high demand would be like 255 SUs. Okay, that's not really high demand. It's just like demand, medium demand or whatever. Very high demand 4,000. Very high demand 2,000. So everything about 1,000, I guess, is going to be very high demand. And yeah, I guess we gotta see this. I don't know about the prices, honestly, because I have like I didn't do cargo hauling in a while. I haven't even played the game in a while. I don't know if they changed the prices on the like units, and like, is this any better than it was, or is this basically the same? You gotta tell me that in the comments. But yeah, let's just like jump through and see like what this whole thing is all about. So yeah, so you see 40 SUs, isn't the Kari like 46 SUs? Okay, so you have these are probably gonna fill up once you fill the ship up. Sure, this is just like pointless. Why do you have this? I don't understand this. In demand, no markets. I don't think that they even like clicked on the plus here, so sure, it's probably just gonna show you like what you have on your ship that it's like that is in demand. And yeah, I don't know. It looks better. Like this whole system looks a bit better, but that's basically it. So let's continue.
318 is not the end of the cargo refactor. There's lots of stuff that we're in the design process for right now, including manual loading and unloading, as well as automatic loading and unloading. We're also looking at some big box cargo missions that separate the cargo from the hauling professions. So that's something to look forward to. We have a lot more content coming that use these new features. We hope you enjoy it in 318.
Remember when they said that the future was bright for cargo, and when I told you to remember that, well, this is it. They should have said the future is bright for piracy, because this is only gonna help pirates. And therefore you will be pirated much more. This is basically going to be the golden age of piracy until the cargo refactor is completely done. Because here they said that they're gonna do like manual and automatic loading and unloading, which is gonna take you a lot of time. And once we get to that point, or once that whole thing gets introduced to the game, then you're gonna see like a huge dip in the number of cargo haulers, because people are just not gonna have enough time to load their ships up to hold the cargo, so they can possibly get pirated. So this whole segment should be just like a piracy segment, because it's basically what it is. So 318 and the next like couple of patches after that, they're basically gonna be the golden age of piracy in Star Citizen, and you can mark my words and you'll see.
And as a coda to all of that, Chris Roberts actually came by my desk the other day.
Wow, dude, you saw Chris Roberts? It's fucking amazing. Like the rare sighting of Chris Roberts. Like, why are we talking about him like he's some kind of a god, or like, why are you trying to make Chris Roberts being like a fucking omnipotent being that's like the only thing that's propelling this whole project. He's not. It's you. It's the 800 people that's working in CAG. Like Chris Roberts is just like the CEO. And honestly, after the last 10 years and the things that he said, like even in the letter of the chairman this year, like most of it is not going to happen. We know it. We know that like we shouldn't trust that man. So why are you trying to promote him? I don't fucking understand it, but let's continue.
And we talked a bit how it was unfortunate that we even have to allow players to lose 40 to 50% of the cargo. And we talked and decided that we would try to come up with an interim solution on our path to physicalized damage that would allow us to leave the husks of ships behind on vehicle destruction instead of just exploding them and erasing all the contents. This would allow players to explore the ships and find the cargo and physically move it off the husks of the ships, rather than just generating a percentage of the boxes on destruction.
Excuse me, what? This has to do with salvage, not with fucking cargo hauling and like with that. Honestly, what? Like, whatever.
Like every other aspect of Star Citizen's continuing development, the cargo refactor isn't a one drop and it's done kind of feature. And the first implementation, much like persistent entity streaming alongside it in the upcoming Alpha 3.18, is about rebuilding existing functionality within an entirely new foundation that will now set the stage for the persistent universe to reach its fullest potential in subsequent patches to come.
All right, so Jared, first of all, you know that we all love you, but also, what the fuck, dude? Like, firstly, you said that there will not be tier 0 implementations anymore, and we're getting a tier 0 again. Sure, fine, I don't fucking care, we don't care, honestly, just give us something. Right after a fucking year of nothing, give us something. And with that said, the entirely new foundation, like, yes, you're talking about PES, sure, but this is like how many foundations, how many entirely new foundations you're gonna have until you settle on one, until one works for everything that you want to do, and then you're gonna stop introducing any more new and exciting foundations, because like Jesus Christ, it's been 10 years and you're still working on the foundations, like and then we have 200 something ships already that you can buy, and like for what, when the foundations are not there yet? Like server meshing is not there yet, and now we're gonna talk about Pyro, and I know that we're gonna talk about Pyro for like the 5th year in a row, and for I don't know how many fucking videos and citizen cons and all of that, and again we're gonna talk about the fucking Pyro, and we're not gonna see Pyro this year when we were supposed to see it for the 4th time now, and we're not probably gonna see it next year, and like because you're probably gonna need another fucking foundation, but in the meantime you're gonna sell fucking 10 or 20 more ships, etc. Like, what are we... Let's continue.
And while we're here talking about new technologies designed to be built upon from one patch to the next, let's chat us up some Rastar, the internal tool that we've been developing now that's currently in use, placing outposts throughout both the Stanton and Pyro systems.
The whole purpose of Rastar is to make the thing easier for the devs to place location at the surface of a planet. And in the end, it will be used as the system for player to build their bases. We have Rastar because the previous system, based on prefab, was quite hard to use and not up to scale for the scale and the scope we want for our planet density.
Yet another rework, yet another foundation. That's all that I'm gonna say. And yeah, they're gonna talk about us getting Rastar at some point because we're gonna be able to make our own bases and all of that. But that's not gonna happen anytime soon. So, okay, we're just gonna look and see like how their developer tools are progressing, and that's it. Like 10 years in fucking development, and we're still, they are still working on the dev tools, which is okay. That would be completely fine if they didn't have those before, or if they couldn't buy some like that for themselves. But I guess for Lumberyard or Star Engine, however you want to call it, they needed to make some dev tools of their own. But still, they made them and they just like reworked them like they do with every fucking segment of this game. After 10 years, of course, you're gonna have to do that, but see how slow it is, and then like there's gonna be a rework of the rework and a rework of the rework, like etc. Like fucking hover quads reworked 4 times now. Everything is gonna be reworked, and even the dev tools and even the foundations are gonna be reworked again and again and again. And like, if you're not fed up with it by now, I don't know what to tell you. Like, yes, this is great, but shit, like, I don't care. Honestly, at this point, I don't even fucking care. I just want a playable experience in a game that offers more than it does right now, and that's it.
Any changes to the planetary generation, like, for example, you just change a canyon, you add a canyon to the planet, you'll have to redrop every modules at the surface of a planet to be sure they are well aligned with the new terrain and the new modifications of the terrain. Rastar makes that better by allowing, first of all, the ability to directly follow the modification of terrain topology, so we don't have to refresh anything. Plus, it gives us more granularity and modularity of the locations.
And again, honestly, most of the games that have base building have this, and this is not anything new or like it's not groundbreaking. It's nice, it's a good dev tool, and can't wait to have it in my hands. So like once you get the Pioneer, you're gonna get a plot of land, and then you're gonna make your own base and all of that. But like that's at least fucking 10 years from now, right? But why are we talking about that right now?
Backers should be caring about Rastar and all these improvements, because that's the way we will be able to give you, the players, the most dense area we can imagine to keep in line and have all the planets, all the moons filled with POI and things to do on the surface, and maybe later in orbit of these planets and moons.
Yeah, sure, but also you will need to have more models and to make models so that program can, like Rastar, can use them to make more points of interest, right? Because it can only work with what you give it, and if you only have one model and like a couple of models, it can just make that, and that's it. Like. It's not gonna be a magic program that's just gonna like you click it 3 times and it just makes a whole new facility that you never saw before. That's never gonna happen. So don't try to promote it like that, because that's not what it is.
CitizenCon 2951. It changed not much in terms of visual, mostly UI rework, but features are all there. Just a lot of internal work to allow the new build location to fit more and be more productive. So now we can have modules and elements that are nested and indented, so we better understand what depends on what.
Alright, so if you're currently typing a comment like, Grumpy, are you gonna be happy with this game ever? Yes, I am. But also you need to understand this, like, I'm not raging because of nothing. I'm raging because we saw this a year ago, and we already know what it is, and they're showing us this again because they basically have nothing else to show. And I'm pissed off because, like, it's really hard, as I've said a ton of times before, it's really hard to make content on a contentless game. And that's what they're doing, and like in response, I'm basically doing the same. I'm bringing you content on a contentless fucking ISC. Sure, the first segment was fine, but it's not cargo, it's piracy, basically. But this whole thing is like, why are we talking about this again? We saw this in a CitizenCon last year, so what's the point? Also, if you take a look at this, you will see that like they're adding elements, and you can see hub A and hub B. So like I was right when I said that you will need more models, you will need more hubs, for example, so you would make another thing. Like that's how it works, and most of the games have that. Like most of the developers have these dev tools to like populate their terrains and like planets or whatever the game is, maps, whatever. So this is nothing new. Like this is already seen in a bunch of other games and game development tools. So I don't know, like, don't get excited. That's the point. That's why I'm getting pissed off, because they're making... You know what? I'm gonna end it here, actually. I'm not gonna fucking show you anything more, because fuck this. Like, the reason why they are doing this and showing you all of this, because, like, we are gonna get IAE soon with 3.17.4, and it's gonna be in like 15 days from now, so 2 weeks. So they're gonna hype the fucking game up. Maybe even like Chris is gonna drop another letter, and like they're just gonna hype it up to the max so they can make more sales, right? But like, what's the point? Because you know, like, if you're not dumb, honestly, if you're not dumb, you're gonna understand it like this. You're not gonna see it in the game, so you can use it on your own, so you can make your own base or whatever. It's not gonna happen anytime soon. So what's the point? The point is hyping up the game, because yeah, you're gonna have sales, and yeah, that's just fucking marketing, right? And the reason why I don't want to go through the whole video, because there's like at least like 5 or 7 more minutes of this, is because they're talking about how they're trying to use Rastar with old stack, and how they're trying to manage it and like bring it up to the new standards that they're using right now, the object container streaming and all of that. Sure, great, but that's your fucking job, right? Like, why are you talking about that in the ISE? If you're gonna talk about that, fucking talk about that in the Star Citizen Live, because yeah, you have an hour there, you can talk about that there. Like, what's the fucking point? The last ISE we had fucking a guy showing us Excel. Like, sure, great, but what's the fucking point?